I swear, man, this team, they do this on purpose to us. There's no other explanation. Um, so 29-22 Vikings win. Um, so we're 4-1. Green Bay lost uh, in London, so technically we have the tiebreaker on them too. So we're technically have two games in the division right now. Detroit got shut out. They got shut out by the Patriots. Um, so we're division leaders by a pretty good margin right now. And this team is just maddening. Like, how does it? It's not like I was sitting here at 21-3 and thinking, okay, 100% game over, no question about it. There was certainly nothing to indicate that things were going to start to go differently, other than the team involved, because this is just what the Vikings are going to do for the until the heat death of the universe. They are just going to always do this. Um, but I mean, that the start of that game was just beautiful. It was just surgical offense. JJ catching everything, Kirk completing everything, getting some good runs in there. It was just beautiful. um, Jalen Rager got a touchdown, his first Vikings touchdown. Um, and you know, we did get lucky on a couple things on defense. I think it was the first Bears drive. They had a touchdown. They had a guy open in the end zone. Fields just missed him, and then there was another deep shot. I think during the 21-3 portion of the game, where he threw a deep ball, a fairly deep ball, and it probably should have been caught and it was dropped. So we got away with a couple, but like we were playing very, very well. Like, certainly with the way the offense was going, there was nothing to um, indicate that not that we were gonna like go ahead and beat them 42-3 or something like that, but there was going to be it was going to be it was going to be a comfortable win. But no, it can't ever be. And if you don't believe momentum is a real thing in a football game, at 21-3, we're driving. Maybe we're going to get some more points. We got the ball back. I forget with how much time left, but we're around midfield. Couple, like 2, maybe 3 minutes left in the half, and we get Kirk gets sacked. First sack on Kirk. I think might have been the only sack on Kirk. Um, and then Ryan Wright shanks a punt, and then there's a penalty on us on the punt, so they add yardage. So basically, it comes back to basically where it was when we punted. We should just, if you'd known what was going to happen, we could have just gone for it. But and then they hit that deep ball, and it's a great catch. Like, not even mad about the coverage. It was just a great catch. Like, it's one of the best catches you're going to see. I'm more upset about how we let them score on that. It was a third and goal, and we let them just run up our gut and get in the end zone. If we hold them to a field goal there, I think that quashes their momentum very, very quickly. And then we get it. You know, on the plus side, we let them score fast, so we get the ball again and we get a shot, and we lead. Kirk gets us down there to have a shot at a field goal. I think it was like 51 yards or something, and Joseph goes and misses it, and you know, so it's like you're going in at the half. It's 21-10. You're still in real good shape, but the momentum has definitely shifted, and you don't get the ball to start the third quarter, and we don't do anything in the second. Certainly the start of the second half on defense, because we let them just go right down the field again. And it's the Swiss cheese defense. You know it's the Ed Onatel defense, because there's no D. I guess that would be E Onatel defense, or E Onatel defense. That I'm never gonna say that again because it's too hard to keep track of. But and I said this last week when we were getting lit up at times by Andy Dalton, that we were going to get lit up by Justin Fields too if we played this same defense, and that absolutely happened. It came to fruition completely because that's what was. It's not like Fields was playing great. He got us on the ground on a few plays. There was one that got called back. Um, uh, I forget if that was third or fourth quarter. It looked like that Michael Vick run on us in 2002, where he just runs through the whole defense and runs for a long touchdown. He got called back mercifully. And I think that might have been the drive where they went ahead. But I mean, that was, even when that happens, it's just like this is embarrassing. What do you what? Like, we didn't put a spy on Fields. It didn't seem like it. We did, because we never had anybody. Once that first pressure comes through and Fields moves, but just a basic spin out of it, we had nobody there. We never had anybody there, and there was no adjustments. It's really infuriating watching Ed Donatell's defense. And the offense cooled. You know, and we were having some issues on offensive line again later in the game. There was a lot of free runners at Kirk. We got blown up in the backfield on a couple of runs. Like it's all going bad. We get lucky on the one they when they scored to make it a 5 point game. We stopped them on the two. That certainly mattered later in the game. It's hard to say exactly how things would have gone at that point, but we get them on the two, but then they go for an onside kick, which whatever, try it. If it had worked, it's one of those things. If it had worked, it would have been an amazing call. But um, but you know, offense doesn't go anywhere, and put Joseph out there for another long field goal and gets blocked. It's hard to say on those if it's the kicker's fault or the line's fault, but it's hard to not blame on Greg Joseph, because man, when he has a rough game. This was such a terrible game from the special teams. You get missed field goal, a blocked field goal. We had the shank punt and a penalty at the same time. Rager almost fumbled the ball away on a punt return. It's like, come on, Rager, you're here. You were literally brought here because you're good with punt at receiving punts, and you almost fumbled the ball away. We're making all these mistakes, and the offense is cool, the defense stinks, and the special teams is blowing it, and naturally we go behind, because and naturally we cashed in our with the double doink last week. No opposing kicker is going to miss any sort of field goal on us again, probably the whole year. Was it Santos hit I think two of them from 50 plus, and of course he did. But like has been happening when it's all on Kirk. And yes, I'm aware that he threw an interception. I find it very interesting, by the way, that the interception he threw today, and I think that was when we were, I forget if we were still up 5 or if we were up, I think we were up 2. And he throws, it looked like exactly like that play last week where he tossed the ball out to Munt and he dropped the ball, and he was getting lit up all week because, hey, you should have thrown this ball to the end zone. Well, it's almost the same goddamn play. He goes for the more aggressive throw, and what happens? He gets picked off. That's what happens. That's why sometimes just taking the safe shit is the right call. They were doing it the whole first half. It was a lot of dink and dunk. They didn't throw a lot of deep shots today. It was just a lot. It was a lot of short stuff, deep dink and dunk. Take what the defense gives you. Sometimes that works, and it sure was working today. But then in the key spot, and whether it was like, I don't think it's like in Kirk's brain that he was getting ripped by a bunch of armchair quarterbacks all week. For not throwing a different ball when he threw it to Munt and Munt dropped it, and and that cost us maybe a touch, and that did cost us a touchdown. Like, that's what happens if you throw the more aggressive ball. You raise the possibility that a guy's gonna make a play. It looked like a pretty good break on the ball. They showed the replay. It was like you see what Kirk's seeing, and it's like Thielen's there. Oh, but now here comes the defensive back to pick it off. That can happen if you go for the more aggressive play. Um, but then here we were. Everything is on the line again. I didn't think it was the last drive of the game. I thought for sure that whatever happened, there was going to be a lot of time left, but we got back with like 9 minutes left, 9 minutes and something left, and it was a 17 play drive. We run it pretty good. Some good throws. Irv Smith made a couple of nice catches. Credit to him. Been a very bad season for Irv Smith. He made a couple of big catches um, on that drive. You know, you're kind of in your head. You're figuring out the clock and what's going to happen. I didn't think we did very good on the clock management there because we got to I knew we weren't in a spot that we could run out the clock because they had their timeouts and we couldn't get enough first downs like a full set of downs to run the clock. But um, you know we got to first and goal um, on that really nice play to Madison, and then first and goal we threw it. Like I don't like that because like even if you score on that play, well you're scoring too fast. Um, and then the second play was this was before we got first and goal, um, or maybe it was, I don't know. I always get the order of things mixed up. But yeah, we had a run with Dalvin to the outside, and he ran out of bounds. It was only like a 2 yard run, and he runs out of bounds. Like you're not gonna get much. Just stay in bounds. Make them either you're burning off some time or one of their timeouts. But we eventually got there. Kirk snuck it in, embraced the sneak, and it's like again a really good clutch drive by Kirk Cousins. Like this is who he is now, and I'm sure and I'm sure people are going to be like, "Oh, well, it's only because it was a noon game." Because people actually believe this stupid fucking narrative that Kirk Cousins is only good in noon games. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure if it was a 3:30 game, it would have been a completely different situation, or a 7 o'clock game. These people are stupid as hell. But he's like, that's 3 straight games he's gotten it done. That's like 4 or 5 drives total that were like you had to score on these drives or you lose the game, and he's come through every single time. Um, and looked like we were gonna blow it again on defense. I mean, we almost got on a fumble there. I don't know why we couldn't get on that. We almost got field sacked, and then we were giving up passes, and even the final play of the game, we looked like we were about to give up another decent gain and let them get out of bounds. Like I thought that for sure this thing was heading for either a touchdown and a two attempt or going to overtime and more anxiety. But Dancer, like that's what you need. You need if you're gonna play like this on defense and just from the scheme play like this on defense, someone's got to make a play once in a while, force a fumble, get in it, you know, rip a ball away, get an interception, something. And Dancer picked a hell of a time to make a very very big play to win the game, and he's made a big play. He made a really big pass breakup against the Saints last week. Like he's having a very good season. Um, and we're 4-1, and we're with tiebreakers 2 games clear of Green Bay at the moment, and we're undefeated in the division. And depending on who's going to be the quarterback for Miami next week, we might be facing a third string quarterback down there. But it ain't going to matter. I'll say the same thing that I said a week ago. We could get this defense, if they're going to play like this, they can get lit up by anybody. The guy's name is Skylar Thompson. Never heard of him. He's the third string quarterback for the Dolphins. If he's the guy who's playing next week, guess what? He will look very good against this pass defense. Um, so it's kind of the same game. I mean, these last 3 games are so similar because it's at times this offense looks unbelievable. I think they put a longer stretch of looking unbelievable today. Um, like if you put their like those 4 touchdown drives were amazing, and they certainly get it done late. Like they're getting it done late when they absolutely have to. When whether that's certain play calling that's going on. It seemed like Kirk was audibling a fair amount today. Like if it's just Kirk, if it's Kirk taking more control, or if it's just different play calling or whatever it is, but they're coming through at the end of these games. They shouldn't be close. I don't think any of these last three games really should have come down to what they did. Certainly not today when you're up 21-3 at home against a rattled bad quarterback. And Fields is bad. Like he is still bad. I think he ended up with like 220 something like that for yards, and he got us on the ground a couple times. Like we're making him look like Patrick Mahomes out there, and he's not good. He's just not. And it's all our defense. It's all our scheme and what we're doing or not doing. Like I couldn't believe we just kept letting him run out of pockets. Like there's no spy there. There's no like we used to be Anthony Barr would always be the guy who would kind of hang around to kind of to spy on the quarterback and get the mobile quarterbacks. Like we just didn't have anything. We didn't have any of that. We didn't have any attempt to do any of that, and it's really frustrating watching this defense because again this was the weakest. I mean, I suppose next week if it's a third string quarterback, but the Dolphins have a lot of offensive weapons. But I mean, we're not going to continue to have games against these backup quarterbacks or just bad starters. Maybe we'll get lucky again next week, but then we've got Kyler Murray coming in here. We're gonna have whoever for Dallas. We're gonna have obviously the Bills, and could write the Bills game off. We're gonna lose that, but I mean, like this has to change with the defense because Kirk Kirk has been great in these clutch spots this year. He's been so good, but no quarterback is going to be 100% leading these fourth quarter scoring drives to win games or tie games or secure games. No, that just doesn't happen. Nobody is going to be perfect in these situations. Kirk is eventually not going to be able to do this every single week if he is required to do it every single week. And that is on the defense. Because, yeah, the offense slowed down. Of course, they weren't on the field. That was part of the problem. They just weren't on the field. I don't know what time of possession was in the third quarter, but I think we only had the ball for a few minutes. And we're not going to score on every drive and get touchdowns on every drive. Like the defense has to pull their weight, and they did on the very last play of the game today. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating to watch because the NFC is there. The NFC is so open. Green Bay is not as good as they were. Even though some of their wins have not been impressive. Tampa won again. They're not there. They haven't been that impressive. We got Dallas and LA starting here. Like that, other than Philly, and Philly kicked our ass, but we wouldn't have to worry about Philadelphia again for a while. So, like, this team can go a long way if they can just get this fucking defense to do something. You know, but I'm certainly not going. Maybe I'm going too negative. I shouldn't go negative because we are 4-1, and this team is. You know, I think it's a credit to this team and to this coaching staff, maybe, or at least O'Connell. Maybe not the defense. I mean, I'll give them credit that at least they made the play at the end, and they did make even in the games the last 2 weeks, they at times would make a stop or make a play, but you know shouldn't come down to this. But it's a credit to them, credit to this coaching staff, credit to O'Connell that you know as a rookie head coach, he's faced now 3 of these just absolute chaos games in a row, and the team doesn't seem to panic. They don't seem to be like completely discombobulated in late and close situations like they sometimes would with Zimmer. Um, you know, is it just coincidence? I mean, is it just you know, you know? I mean, it could just be coincidence, but I think it bodes very well for this guy as a coach that he can have this team in these spots, and maybe he's getting them in these spots on purpose. But they get in these spots where they're these are chaotic games where either they're having to come back or they blew a lead or or they need they here's the drive you absolutely need, or here's the defensive series you absolutely need, and they get it done. And I think that bodes very, very well for this team going forward this year and in the future, because I hope O'Connell's here for a long time. Um, and it's like they've done it 3 weeks in a row now. You know they've certainly got experience now dealing with these games and dealing with these situations, and they seem to be thriving. Like they've played some of their best football of the whole season in these spots. Like the fourth quarter, the last 3 weeks they've been terrific, and they've been very clutch, especially at offense, and they're getting it done. You can't argue with 4-1. I'm sorry. Like I'll take 4-1. Obviously, we're 5-0, but I'll take 4-1 every single time, because you pile up the wins now. The schedule will get a little tougher, but it's not that tough. I think I saw that coming into the week we had one of the easiest remaining schedules, and now it won't be easy because we don't make it easy. These last 3 games should have been somewhat easy, but we're winning these games. We're showing a lot of resilience within games. Like obviously the last 2 weeks we had leads, multi-score leads, and we blew them, but then we came back, and so then the next time we're in this position, probably next week, will they'll all know that, hey, we can come back in this spot. Just because we're down in the fourth quarter, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean we've lost. We can come back. um, and I think it's just it's a very, very good a very, very good sign for this coaching staff that they when it's a rookie head coach, and we got veteran guys in the coaching staff around O'Connell, but you know people say it, but these are the games that the Vikings lose. um, and we'll lose. We're going to lose some close games, but know, in years past, some of these games really get away from us and we lose. And I don't know if there was anything to the you know week after playing in London. There was the teams who have played the week after London have had issues in the past. I believe the Saints won too. Um, but you know, if there was any sort of thing of like, did they have stamina left? Well, they certainly seem to, because they got it done, and that's what it all boils down to, is they got it done and got the win, got another division win, 3-0 in the division. Tie. You come down to winning a division records. Head to head's number one tiebreaker. Division record is number two, and we got the head to head on everyone right now, and we got the division record on everybody right now. So now, got Miami next week. Don't know who the quarterback's going to be, and it's going to be the same thing. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. If it's this Skylar Thompson, or if it's Teddy, or if even Tua's back, you know, it's probably going to be a 4-quarter game, right down to the end again. This is just how it is. But credit to the Vikings for they make their messes. They kind of make their own messes, but they're showing an ability to clean up their own mess and be clutch late and get it done. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters, is if you get the win. And I'm going to stop talking now. But 4-1, we're rolling. First place.